Can you share in your understanding simply, like, who was the Buddha and what was his main teaching?
The main Buddha was a human being like us, but he achieved the highest human potential, which is to awaken the mind to its fullest extent and become a Buddha. And the essence of his teaching is suffering, its cause, and how to eliminate it and become a fully awakened person. And he had two levels, in a sense. He saw those who mainly wanted to do that for themselves could attain nirvana, and those who had, more open-hearted, courageous, ambitious, crazy motivation could aim for Buddhahood, which is perpetually helping others until everybody is liberated, instead of just working for one's own liberation. So that's his teaching. As I think he may have said somewhere that the whole of my teaching is to free beings from suffering. That was his purpose.
Can you elaborate on your understanding on what the causes of suffering are and how someone can find freedom from those?
It's useful to see the different traditions. In the Theravada, sometimes called Hinayana, when they speak of the second noble truth, they often say the cause of suffering is craving. Whereas if our Tibetan teachers I've been associated with will say delusion and karma, meaning the deluded states of mind, ignorance, anger, attachment, jealousy, pride, deluded doubt, all those force us to create contaminated karma, and so that keeps the wheel of suffering going round and round. So then you might say, how come the Theravadins are just saying craving? Well, craving is an incredibly important aspect of that. If you look at the wheel of life, or the 12 links, and the craving, there's contact, feeling, and craving and grasping. So that sense of clinging, holding on, fixating on experience, fixating on a self, me, I, me, mine, fixating on everything. This is a real table, this is a real smartphone, and it's mine, blah, blah, blah. That fixation, that craving, that grasping, that makes a lot of sense to me. Holding on. Uptight, I find, is a very useful modern word. If one's not relaxed and spacious, which the Buddha said is actually the natural state of the mind, is to be spacious, like space. But we fixate, we grasp, we cling to things, we make a big deal of everything. If you want to look at it in larger terms, you could say, if you're a Christian, you might say God gave us this beautiful planet. Buddhists would say karma and consciousness, the core, created this beautiful planet. What did we do? We messed it up. So we make a big deal, and that big deal makes big problems, because it feeds the I, me, mine, the whole need to protect oneself. The I, as soon as we say I, then one might say one has a problem, because I is always followed by I am, I have, I want, I don't have, So long as there's that sense of a concrete I, problems are going to happen. And then there's I, and then there's you, and then that division starts, and the whole of that nonsense. So this kind of duality starts with that. Where there is I, there is other, and then there's proliferation, meaning thoughts. So the spaciousness of the mind becomes crowded with what Lama Yeshe used to call garbage. So all this garbage just creates problems. Mental garbage creates the outer garbage, and literally creates a lot of garbage. So it's destroying us, destroying our home. So that's one way to look at it. Natural spaciousness, our Buddha nature, which is the good news and the bad news in Buddhism, we screwed up by craving, grasping, holding on to the I. Self-grasping ignorance is one way we put it in English. Self-grasping ignorance, because it's an ignorance of what we really are, which is spacious and free. but due to kind of beginningless ignorance, we don't see that. So there's a kind of a paradox there. There's beginningless ignorance, but also we have the potential to wake up out of it. It's not permanent. It's not permanent. It doesn't last forever. It can change. Mind is beginningless and endless, but it's not endlessly ignorant necessarily. We can change that. If we couldn't, then there's nothing to be done. We should just eat, drink, and be merry and face the consequences. But we can wake up. The Buddha said there are techniques to. So the technique would be, classically speaking, discipline your life, focus your mind, samadhi, and develop wisdom on that basis. That's the least we can do. Then if you have this crazy, courageous aspiration, you say, okay, I'm going to do more than that and help others, then we generate more and more the compassion side. The bodhicitta, the wish to become awakened in order to free all beings from their suffering. So that's possible. Mahayana, great vehicle approach. So all of them, whatever it is, Hinayana, Mahayana, Theravada, whatever you call it, all require mental pacification and wisdom, purification of the mind through various practices, which differ a bit in the different traditions. But purification is essential, and accumulation of positive qualities, although accumulation is the wrong word in one sense, because it makes you feel that you are actually bereft or poverty-stricken in the beginning, which we're not, but we do need to engage in a lot of practices which you could say remind us that we are actually, at bottom, we are all Buddhas. We all have the Buddha nature, and we can all wake up. But we kind of forgot that, so we have to remind ourselves with all these techniques, which are temporary methods, and then in the end, yeah.